Probably have an old school website, just like this old school Voltron from the 80s. Here's the thing, video websites are dominating the entire internet right now, but only 3% of people have video websites. What is a video website? When there's continual movement. The beautiful thing about continual movement is that when you have movement, it keeps the buyer wanting to stay on the website. Here's the beautiful thing. If you look here at Dr. Mo's website, he is dominating. His website's everywhere. Not only that, but he's omnipresent. It's about time to get you out of the static world websites where they don't move, doesn't do anything for you, but come into the video websites where we dominate Google and get you omnipresent. It's time to step in the future of marketing. Make sure you click on the button in the bottom for a consultation, and we'll get back with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show, the show that brings you the best of the best doctors in their area and their niches. And so today we have a special guest, Dr. Ole Olson with OptimalHealthIA.com. He is in the Ankeny, Iowa area. Say that 25 times quickly. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Olson, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. Today, we're going to be talking on a subject, why you are struggling with neuropathy, why you, everyone out there. There's so many people that are struggling with neuropathy, that are struggling with pain. I'm in a lot of groups online of 200 to 300 to 400,000 people that are struggling with neuropathy. And the sad part is a lot of these doctors out there are telling them that they have to live with this pain for the rest of their lives, and they don't have to. So that's why I'm excited to have Dr. Olson here today, because he has a way out and to help you. So before we get into that, Dr. Olson, if you wouldn't mind just telling us, how did you get into chiropractic, how long you've been doing this, and what led you to neuropathy?
Yeah. So I've been in practice over 13 years. It started out, basically just high school, being an athlete and working out and, really just enjoying the human body and the wonders of it. And as I got into undergrad, I studied athletic training. So we worked with athletes, rehabbing injuries and helping them recover from things. And I always just loved doing that, helping people get back to normal. And as I was getting towards the end of my undergrad, I started to realize, okay, what am I going to do with this moving forward? I knew I wanted to one day have a family, and that was very important to me. So my time was very important, and chiropractic just kind of popped into my world, and ended up going to school, and it meshed with everything I'd learned, and it just kind of took me to a place of helping people recover from injuries and regain their life, really. And from there, it just kind of took off, because I've always been one about learning more and continual education. So I'm always taking seminars. I'm always trying to learn cutting edge stuff, what's out there. And really, it kind of took me full circle over a 10-year time period, where I really started to see how the human body interacts with itself, and how we can't look at different areas as separate entities, but it's the human body. And that's where neuropathy started to come in. And, seeing those patients over the years and having some success, but still knowing that a lot of them were suffering, it really hurts me whenever I see a patient that I can't help. It really causes a burden in me. Like, you help thousands and thousands of people, and you think about the 2 people you couldn't help. And so
That bothers you more than anything.
yeah, keeps you up at night. And so when I learned about some of these groups out there that were specializing in neuropathy, and the success rate they were getting, I knew I had to be a part of that, and I had to bring that into my clinic.
Wow, I love that. And we're talking, the title here is why you are struggling with neuropathy. What would you say most of the people that you see that struggle with neuropathy? As you notice, I'm not saying their neuropathy, because I don't believe that you can just, when you say claim it's yours, it's like you can just go into a store and just pick it up. So
Yeah.
what would you say that most of the people that you're seeing that are struggling with neuropathy, that you like, what would you say most of the cases are? Would it be normally their food? Would it say dieting, if not working out?
It's interesting you said that too, because I tell that to people all the time when I'm sitting with a new patient and they say, my whatever disease follows it. And I always tell them the same thing, don't claim it. That's not yours.
Your
That's just
words
a
are
temporary
important.
status. So, but anyway, with neuropathy, the most common type out there obviously is diabetes. So it's a metabolic issue, a metabolic issue that has created structural issues.
Right.
So that's definitely the most common one. We also see quite a bit of chemo-induced. So people have gone through cancer treatments. Usually the doctors will tell them that they'll get better over a couple of years. Sometimes it gets a little better. Sometimes it doesn't and actually gets worse. Sometimes they just get to a point where they can't get any better. And so we've seen great success with those. And then there's also idiopathic, which really is the doctor's term for we just don't know. And we're starting to see more and more of those pop up. And they're always quick to point out they don't have diabetes. And so once they've been through those tests and they already know that they don't have it, well, now we can just look at what are they missing, what component in their body is needing help to help recover from it.
So would you say that you're seeing most of this more with maybe obesity? Would it be mostly that's like maybe 90% of the people you're seeing, or is it just basically what they're putting into their bodies?
A little bit of both. I mean, we see there's probably 50 to 60% that have weight issues, and there's definitely an extreme metabolic component. And but we see 40+% maybe that really aren't carrying a whole lot of extra weight. Some of them are chemo, some of them are other issues, but that's why we really do that examination to figure out exactly what's going on with each individual patient. There is no cookie cutter process.
Right. Well, now how would an examination look with you?
So we start with the history. I always want to dive in with the patient to see, where they're coming from, what they've done. But really, I want to know, what are they looking to gain? Like, I want to know, what are our goals for care?
Right.
If I want to get someone to be able to walk 20 miles, but they don't care about that, then there's really no benefit to that patient. So I want to make sure we know exactly what they're after, whether it's they want to be able to golf, whether they want to play with their grandkids, great grandkids. Like I had someone the other day. Everybody's got their own goals and things that they're seeking to gain from our help. And so we want to know exactly what we're after first and foremost. Secondly, we go into an examination. And so we do a detailed examination. It's a 16-point examination for neuropathy, checking different sensory levels to see what the body is lacking.
Right.
That really helps us to determine what are they going to need going forward. Like I said before, it's not a cookie cutter approach, so we got to figure out. And I always use a plant analogy. So if we take a plant and that's withered,
Right.
Does that plant need to get some more sunlight? Well, sometimes, as I've found out, my patients tell me that certain plants need less sunlight, so I got to move them away from there. That's why they're withering. Other times, maybe they need more water. Other times, they're getting overwatered because all the kids like to play with the water cups and dump water in there. So we just got to figure out what is going on with that individual's body. What are they lacking, or what do they have excess of that we can help start to correct to get that body to a point where it can start to heal again.
I like what you said. Is I noticed that you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not just taking anybody. You're really looking at the mindset. And if you know that you can't help them with the mindset, there's really nothing you can do, because someone just kind of comes in and says, all right, fix me, doc. You're like, it doesn't really work that way. I need to see how hungry you are. If you're not willing to give up the smoking, you're not willing to give up the ho-hos, the Twinkies, it's going to be a little bit hard for the process to speed up. You're slowing the process down. Would you say, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, and I tell people the same thing.
Any of those stuff, but
Yeah, so I tell people the same thing. Like, if you want to get the best results, the quickest results, we have to make some modifications. We can still make progress, albeit slower, and it's going to be more hard or more challenging if they're not making the lifestyle choices and things they need to make. But we do an examination to make sure, one, that they are actually a good candidate for what we do. I don't want to start someone on a program who doesn't have neuropathy, so it would be no benefit to them. So that's where our examination helps us to determine is actually what is going on. Is it a true neuropathy case? And then if it's something that we can't handle in our office, I do my best to find them the best referral source to get them in the place they need to be.
I love that. I'm sure you get some people that come in and they diagnose themselves. The people that love to diagnose where they go on Google, and not saying you can't diagnose, but I meet a lot of people that just diagnose themselves and without seeing a doctor, which is very interesting. But with that being said, what would you say to somebody that they've heard from doctors and they basically said, this is what you're stuck with for the rest of your life? Just take these pills. And you and I know, I'm not bagging on pills. Some do help, depending on what the situation is. But you and I know that most of these pills out there are just covering it, not healing it. And when that pill starts to wear off, you get a higher dose and a higher dose, and there's no more higher dosage after it hits a certain limit. What would you say to viewers out there? Because there's a lot of viewers right now where we have this video right now in neuropathy groups, and they're going to be asking questions, so be ready. Because they've been told a lie, I believe.
Yeah. And I think the biggest lie out there is that you just have to live with it. And it's not that the doctor's necessarily lying to them. It's just that they don't know what all is out there.
Right.
Most doctors this day and age, they're in a system where they have to see people every so many minutes, right? They have a system they have to work within, a capacity that they have to reach. And if they don't reach that, they get cut pay or they lose their job. So they're in a system where they have to keep pushing them through as quickly as possible. They don't have time to sit down and talk with someone about their nutritional needs. They don't have time to sit down and do the high quality testing that needs to be done to determine exactly what's going on. It's usually, those are the symptoms. Here's some GABA. Try this and see if it helps. But yeah, like you mentioned, these medications. Medication in and of themselves is not bad, right? The whole premise of medication is life-saving. Like, we have a tremendous healthcare system in terms of life-saving capabilities, right? If I have a life-threatening issue, I don't want to be anywhere else in the world except the United States. We're the best at critical care.
Exactly.
The problem is we've taken that model and we tried to apply it to health, and that does not work. Mm-hmm. And so, just like you mentioned, we see people that they start off on one dose, and then if it worked, they'd be cured, they get off the medication, but it doesn't. They end up needing more medication a year, 2, 5 down the road. Then they need more and more. I had a guy yesterday in his 40s, already at the max limit of GABA. He's already at 3,200 a day, cannot take any more. He's maxed out, and now there's nothing they can do.
In his 30s?
40s.
Oh, okay. That's like the beginning.
Yeah.
It actually normally should be the 50, should be the beginning.
You as a doctor,
there should be no beginning.
There should be no beginning, exactly.
There should be no beginnings. Yeah. Oh, gosh, that was funny. Hey, I fell into that one. So are there any diabetes out there that you're maybe because I know there's certain type, you have 1 and 2 and so forth. Is there a certain type of diabetes that you're seeing the most of in the past, say, 5 years? Like a lot, certain type? Would you say it's 2 or?
Yeah, definitely type 2 would be the most common for sure. And I would say I don't see a lot of type 1 diabetics with neuropathy, really. Most of them are type 2 diabetics.
Oh, wow. And would you say most of the type 2 that you're seeing would be a lot because of diet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's basically the premise of type 2 diabetes. It's the lifestyle choices that we've made year in and year out. People think that just because there's someone that looks healthy at the gas station at 7 in the morning, eating a roll of donuts and
Good.
Snickers and Monster Energy drinks, like, oh, they're healthy. They look how they look. Um, it really has nothing to do with how the person looks. Their inside is rotting, and one day they're going to pay the piper, so to speak, in regards to their health. It's only a matter of time. So we have to think of our lifestyle choices as a lifetime thing. If you're gonna, you can have a pizza every once in a while. You can eat these things every once in a while, but we've become a society where we live off of convenience, and that's really destroying our health from the inside out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm 43 now, and when I look at like 30 years ago, I remember how even foods used to taste differently. And I've seen the I call it the markup as it getting worse and worse. And it's interesting because you hit it on the dot. Just because you're thin doesn't necessarily mean you don't have diabetes. Um, when you're putting junk in, we don't realize that the junk's going to come out. But here's the cool thing: a lot of people don't realize that it's really not as expensive to eat organic. I know when I first started eating organic stuff, first I thought it was a hoax. I was like, okay, this is a scam. I'm paying for a bushel of celery, 99 cents at the store.
Yeah.
And when I get married, I got married, my wife's like, no, they're totally different. Look at the color. You see the difference. And I'm like, being educated. And I think that's the difference is when you're educated and you start realizing, wait a minute, I can still eat pretty much the same things, but I don't need to go after Nabisco. I don't need to go after McDonald's. Make your own burger.
Yeah.
You could still make it good. The only thing you're missing is the MSG that's allowed you to become addictive to it. I know for myself, I can't eat MSG, man. If I eat some MSG, I go right into a coma. I'm sleeping for 2 hours, but once my mind changed about the way that I eat, my life started to change because a lot of us we don't focus on our health. A lot of us are just focusing on our wealth. And the next, you're focusing on your wealth so much. Now you're having to focus on your health, and you lose all your finances because you're trying to fix your machine, this body.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that I'm sure you've had some people that come in your office where they just seem like they've given up? What would you say to somebody that is in pain right now as they're watching this?
Yeah.
With their feet or their hands or their arms, and they just feel like giving up. Do you do consultations on the phone? I mean, somebody, I don't know. I mean, how would that work?
Yeah. So let me just back up a minute there. You said something that really hit me because I had a patient, so I was sitting down talking with, and a neuropathy patient, and they basically said the exact same thing as you. He's like, you work your whole life to get your gold, and then you spend your golden years, everyone taking your gold because you're trying to get their health back, right?
Wow.
And that's so key. And it's like, that's so true for people. Like they work their tails off to get to retirement, and then they spend the next 30 years dumping all their money back into doctor's visits and trying to fix everything that they've broken over the last 50, 60, 70 years. Right. So when we start to look at, there's a saying, health is your greatest wealth. And it's so true. When you look at the cost of things, it's so much more expensive to try to regain your health later on than it is to invest in it throughout your life. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. People look at my grocery bills. They would be astounded. I do have 4 kids, so that doesn't help things.
Costco.
But, yeah, Costco, exactly. But so it does add up, but we choose to invest in higher quality foods, right? But like you said, it doesn't have to be super expensive. Like we probably shop at 3, 4, even 5 different grocery stores sometimes, which is more of a hassle. But you find that certain grocery stores carry certain things for a better price than others. So I may go to one store to get certain produce, I may go to another store to get meat products, I may go somewhere else to get this. And if you eat more whole foods, you aren't going to be spending a whole lot more money. It's when you start buying all the organic processed stuff, which really is just organic crap. I mean, it's really not that good for you. Once again, a special treat every now and then is okay. But if you eat more whole foods and shop around and buy in season as well, like strawberries when they're in season, organic strawberries, $2.99, $3.99. But you try to buy them off season, you're spending $6.99, $7.99 for a quart. So you definitely just need to shop in season, which is going to be better for you, more nutrients anyway. So those are kind of some just real easy tips to think about when you're doing the shopping.
I agree.
As far as, people that come in without hope, that's really when I walk out of that first visit, that first consultation examination, that's the one thing I want that person to have is hope again. Because so many people come in kind of hopeless, right? They feel like they've tried everything. And I find that in the neuropathy realm, there's just so much garbage out there because everybody's trying to make a quick buck, selling you some junk device, for $49 or some supplement for $39 or $69 or whatever it is. And they just keep buying all this garbage to try, but no one's ever sat down and done an examination to determine what they need. And that's where you start to invest in your health because now you know exactly what your body requires to heal. And, to me, there's no giving up on my health. Like that's something I'm always driving after. And I always stress to patients, I would try every last thing out there. Right. And the longer we wait, the more desperate people get. And then they're just grasping at straws. So the sooner someone can get an examination and get to getting their body healing and moving in the right direction, most of the time they see such tremendous changes. It always amazes me how quickly people start to respond when you give them the correct environment to heal.
I love that, and a lot of people don't realize that the body was created to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely
we realize that. And then second, we start to realize that if I come to you and I'm a patient and you're trying to help me and everything out of my mouth is negative, your body responds to your negativity. So when you start saying my cancer, my neuropathy, it's not like you went into Costco and picked it up and threw it in your backpack and bought it. And then once we start to say, you know what, I have this, but it doesn't own me. And we need to, and I'm going to figure out, or we're going to figure out how to get rid of this. And I think once that points us into a right direction. But and those are the people that you can help. But the people I know that it's hard for anybody to help are the ones that I call them Eeyore. It's not going to work. I don't know. Maybe. I guess I can try. That's the wrong direction. And I know that if we start to realize that we are spiritual beings, not getting all preachy teachy, but we are spiritual beings, our body. God created an awesome thing. But like I said, it was created to heal itself. Now, if we're putting junk in here, we're going to hurt it. And it's interesting what you said. You said if people saw your phone, not your phone bill, but if some people saw your grocery bill, they would flip out. But what people don't realize is that if we saw their bank statements, we would flip out. Yeah. How many times they're going to Burger King? They're going to, hey, they're not cheap anymore. Remember how they used to make fast food cheap?
Yeah.
They used to, not anymore. It's like $10 for a number one. You know what I mean? Oh, number two, that's 15. Yeah, I'm just saying it's, so, it used to be, but now it's like, I really believe it's about the same, but, yeah. All right. Wow. I love this. What are some of the things that you're seeing people get healed from, like neuropathy? So with say their feet, what are some of the, I call them praise cases that you've seen recently?
Yeah. So feet are definitely more common than hands. We do see both. But yeah, it's just amazing the stories you start to hear from your patients, right. People that can't even open a container of milk, or can't even hold their coffee cup to drink their coffee in the morning. And now they're able to start doing those things. The stories I love are when the people are now able to either do their jobs again. They couldn't hardly stand on their feet at work, and now they can go back to play with their kids and their grandkids, and going for walks with their husband or wife. Like, it's just these simple things in life that are so meaningful and so impactful to the patient. Like, those are the ones that really get to me. Like, we help this person get their relationship back with their spouse. Like this, we help this grandparent be able to get on the floor and play with their grandkids and not have to just sit there in a chair and not be able to run around the yard with them.
Can't put a price on that.
What's that?
Can't put a price on that.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And it's just magical. Like, I just love hearing the stories from people constantly.
Wow, I love that. Now, I know that you're in the Ankeny, Iowa area, and I know that we have people that drive even an hour to 2 hours to see you. If you can maybe let us know for people out there in the surrounding areas that you have been serving. Yeah,
really, Central Iowa is the biggest focus, just because we see 2 million people or whatever in this area. So Des Moines, Ankeny, Johnston, West Des Moines, Indianola, Norwalk. But we're getting a lot of people over from Newton, up by Fort Dodge, Webster City. It's a couple hours away. People are driving for these services because they see that they're actually getting improvements for the first time in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years even. So to see someone that has a degenerative issue that's been going on for that long, and to see it turn around in couple, 3, 4 months. It's amazing.
Wow, I love it. Wow, that's awesome. So everyone out there in internet land, sharing is caring. Remember, one video can change one person's life. Even if you're not in pain, it's just good to share it. Whether you're on Instagram, Twitter, Google+, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is, let's get the word out. Let's focus on helping people. The beautiful thing is when we take our mind off of ourselves and focus on helping people, our entire world changes around us. And again, Dr. Olson, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show and talking about neuropathy. And our goal here today is to have people give you a phone call so that you can help people. Guys, it's a phone call away or even a drive away. Have a great day, everyone. And again, thank you, Dr. Olson, and God bless you.
Thank you.